Hey, what's up everyone? Today I want to tell you about my favorite point and shoot camera and why it's my favorite camera to take with me everywhere I go. Now the camera I do want to talk about is the Ricoh GR1. Now I love this camera and for many reasons. The biggest reason is going to be its size. It is small and compact. It truly is a pocketable camera. It is coming in at 175 grams without the battery. Now that is very lightweight. Whenever you receive this and you get it in your hands, you can feel that it is a premium product. It definitely does not feel cheap, even though it is lightweight, and that's because of its magnesium alloy body. As for the lens, you are getting a 28mm lens that can open up to a 2.8 aperture. For point and shoots, this is pretty standard, a 2.8 aperture. Some lower end ones will get you around a 3.5. And then 28mm, you're either gonna get 28mm, 35 is pretty standard, or sometimes you can find some a little bit wider at about 21. But I love the focal length overall, and I think it's a great fit for this camera. Now let's talk about shooting modes. You do have different shooting modes. You have a fully auto mode, so if you take your exposure compensation, set that to 0, and then flip your dial to the program mode, you are going to get a fully automatic camera. The good thing about this is when you do take it with you on trips or if you're hanging out with friends, if you want to get in some of those photos, you can actually just hand this off to someone and anybody can take a great photo out of this camera, which is something that I really love about it. You can also throw it into aperture priority, so you can set your aperture to 2.8 and you can change it all the way to f/22 if you need to. We do get some timing modes as well. You can throw it in a self-timer mode that is going to give you 10 seconds to actually get ready to take your photo. And then you can also set it to a time exposure mode, which allows you to open up the shutter for as long as you need to. On the back of this, if you take a look, you can actually see you have 3 different options for your flash. You have automatic flash, which is what I prefer to leave it on. You have flash on, and you have flash off as well. Now, out of all the great things that this camera offers, I have been reading online and experienced at least one of them myself, but one out of the 2 is people claim that this camera does not last very long. Now, I don't know how much use this has gotten before I received this camera, but this camera was made in the 90s. It's 2022, about to be 2023. I use it fairly often and it's held up just fine. One of the issues I have experienced that a lot of other people are noticing is the top LCD screen tends to go out. Ricoh unfortunately stopped servicing these cameras in 2014, so you can no longer get them serviced. I have read on forums that you can leave the camera on for about 30 minutes and sometimes it will brighten up. I have had issues where it does intermittently turn on, but most of the time it's just off. And that really suffers because you can't tell what mode you're in, and you can't also tell how many shots you have left. There is a workaround that I found online where you can turn the camera on, take the battery out, put the battery back in, and that kind of gets you a reset to its initial modes, and then you can kind of just cycle if you memorize the other modes. That's kind of a workaround, but it's just something sad to see that you can't really get that repaired. A cool feature about this camera that other 35mm point and shoot cameras don't really offer is when you put the film canister inside, it pre-winds your film. And what I mean by that is it actually takes all exposures out, and when you shoot, it puts them back in the canister. Now, this is a plus in my opinion because let's say you're out and you're shooting and halfway through the shoot, for some reason, you open up the back door. Now, on a conventional 35mm camera, your whole shoot's gone. Everything just got exposed. You're not getting those photos back. But the good thing about the pre-wind that this camera offers is all the photos that are inside the canister, those are saved, and you only have to worry about the ones that you did expose. So I love that feature in this camera. Now, one small feature is on the back side, you actually get a small window to see what film you're shooting. Now, this can come in handy, let's say if you don't finish a roll on your shoot and you just kind of leave it sitting for a little bit. When you come back, you don't have to wonder what roll you have in here. You already know which one. Now, the great thing about a reusable point and shoot camera like this one is you can try different types of film. So my favorites right now have been Ektar 100. I took that on a trip with me to Seattle. I thought the colors of the greens, the shadows, I thought it was just gorgeous. Paired with this camera and the lens, I thought the photos turned out phenomenal. And then my other personal favorite, which I've really used a lot in this camera, is the Portra 400, the tried and true one. Man, that film is expensive, but it's expensive for a reason. I mean, you just get gorgeous colors out of it. When I was actually looking for photos for this video and going through them, I had to really zoom in to be able to be like, is that a film? Is that one of the photos I took on the film camera? Because that's how crisp the images were. Now, the saying, the camera you have with you is the best camera, is true, especially if you work in the film industry and you are working with cameras every single day or pretty often. They're not very fun just to take around with you when you're on vacation, when you're hanging out with people, especially like a mirrorless or SLR camera, interchangeable. They're just not fun. You have to store them in a bag, then you have to keep up with the bag, and in my personal opinion, I just rather not take a camera at all. But if I do want to get some phenomenal photos and actually have some like character to the photos instead of just like an iPhone, this is the one I'm taking with me. But yeah, everyone, there's a lot of reasons why I love this Ricoh GR1. I think the photos that come out of it are phenomenal, and I'm just overall super happy with it. And this is one of the pieces of gear that I don't see myself getting rid of anytime soon, or honestly ever. I just really love this, and I really do think it is in fact a timeless piece. So let me know what you think down in the comments about this camera. I would love to know your thoughts. If there's any other competitors out there that you think I should maybe take a look at or do some research on, I would love to know. And until next time, everyone, remember, like, share, and if you want to subscribe. See you on the next one.